Some stories disappear after you hear them. Others stay with you for years. Tonight, you'll hear 3 stories that only get stranger as they unfold. The last one is the one people never stop talking about. Every year, Maplewood Elementary took one class photo on the last Friday before summer break. The routine never changed. The students lined up. The teacher stood in the middle. The photographer counted. 3, 2, 1. Flash. The picture looked perfect. By Monday morning, the printed photo arrived. Mrs. Carter smiled as she placed it into a frame and hung it on the classroom wall. Nothing seemed unusual until lunchtime. One of her students quietly walked up to the photo. "Miss, who's that boy?" Mrs. Carter looked closer. Standing in the back row, between 2 children, was a boy she had never seen before. He wore an old-fashioned school uniform. His pale face showed no expression. His hands were folded in front of him. At first, everyone assumed it was a printing mistake. The school called the photographer. He checked the original camera files. The strange boy wasn't there. Only the printed photo showed him. The principal checked the attendance records. Every student in the picture had a name, except one. The mysterious boy didn't exist. The class was questioned one by one. No child remembered standing beside him. No parent recognized his face. The photo was removed from the wall. But the next morning, the boy had moved. He was no longer standing in the back. He was one row closer to the front. The school became silent. The principal contacted the local archives. Boxes of old class photos were brought out. Photos from 1984, 1971, 1958. Every single one contained the same boy. Always the same face. Always the same empty smile. Never older, never younger. Only his position changed. Every year, he stood a little closer to the front. The oldest photograph they found was taken 42 years ago. In that picture, the boy was barely visible in the last row. In this year's picture, he was only one row away from the teacher. The school immediately removed every framed class photo from the building. They locked them inside a storage room. The next morning, every photograph was hanging back on the classroom walls, exactly where they had been before, except for one small difference. The mysterious boy was now standing beside Mrs. Carter, looking directly at the camera and smiling. The school never released another class photo again. But if you visit the old building today, there's still one empty space in every classroom, as if someone is waiting to stand there next year. If one photograph can hide a secret for decades, imagine what can happen to an ordinary family without them even realizing it. When the Harris family bought their dream house, everyone said they looked happier than ever. The neighborhood was quiet. The house was bright. The children loved the large backyard. For the first few days, everything felt perfect. Then something strange began to happen. It wasn't noises. It wasn't shadows. It wasn't footsteps. It was their smiles. One evening, the youngest daughter laughed at dinner. Her father looked at her for a moment, then slowly stopped smiling. The next day, the mother noticed she hadn't smiled once all morning. She wanted to, she just couldn't. Days turned into weeks. Every family photo looked different, not because someone was missing, because nobody smiled anymore. Friends asked if everything was okay. The family always gave the same answer. We're just tired. Eventually, they moved out. The new owners arrived a month later. The neighbors watched them unload boxes. The parents laughed. The children ran through the yard. Everything seemed normal. Until the welcome barbecue, someone took a group picture. When the photo was printed, every neighbor was smiling, except the new family. Every single one of them already looked exactly like the family who had just left. Years later, people noticed something strange about that house. Families came, families left, but every photo taken there ended the same way. The faces changed, the smiles disappeared. Homes aren't the only places where people disappear without anyone noticing. Sometimes, the forest keeps its own secrets. 5 friends planned a weekend hiking trip deep into Black Pine Forest. The trail was popular, well marked. Hundreds of people used it every year. The first few hours were perfect. They laughed, took photos, and joked about getting lost. Around sunset, they reached an old wooden bridge. On the other side, they found a weathered sign nailed to a tree. It read, "If you hear someone calling your name, don't answer." Everyone laughed. Someone had probably put it there to scare tourists. They crossed the bridge anyway. About 20 minutes later, Jake suddenly stopped walking. "Did you guys hear that?" The others shook their heads. "I swear, someone just whispered my name." They kept moving. A few minutes later, another friend heard it too, soft, calm, like someone standing just behind them. One by one, every person heard their own name. Each voice sounded different. Some sounded like their mother. Some sounded like an old friend. Nobody turned around. Nobody answered. When they finally reached the parking lot, they were exhausted. The ranger asked, "Where's the 5th hiker?" They looked at each other, confused. "There were only 4 of us." The ranger frowned. He showed them the security camera from that morning. 5 people had entered the trail, laughing together. The 5th friend walked between them the entire time. Every single photo on their phones showed him. Every video captured his voice. None of them could remember his name. The police searched the forest for 8 days. They never found the missing hiker. When the 4 friends looked at their group photo one last time, there were only 4 people in it, as if the 5th person had never existed. Maybe they're only stories. Maybe they're not. Either way, one of them will probably stay in your mind tonight. Which one disturbed you the most? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoy psychological horror, subscribe for the next episode.